Are you planning to apply for a mortgage loan, but you kind of don't know where to start? Well, I tell you what, I'm going to give you some tips. I'm going to tell you the 5 biggest mistakes that I see as a loan officer of 35 years that people make when they're trying to either buy a home and get a mortgage or refinance. So pay close attention. Don't do any of these things, and your chances of getting approved are a heck of a lot better. So first of all, let's talk about mistake number 1, and this is kind of a doozy. Not checking your credit early. I can't tell you how many times people have said, I've got an 850 credit score. It's fantastic. And then we find out that it's, well, less than fantastic. Low sixes, high fives, whatever. Well, how did that happen? I don't know. There might be a mistake on your report. Then again, you might not be paying your bills. We don't know. But you need to make sure that you check your credit early and often. Stay on top of it. I've got a common name. My last name is Smith. So I know my wife, there's other people out there with her name in our same town. So sometimes the credit reports kind of cross a little bit. So you want to make sure you're on top of that. Check your credit early so you don't get a surprise when you actually go to apply. Secondly, get pre-approved, for crying out loud. If you're going to go buy a house, you don't want to drive all over the place. And I guarantee you, your realtor doesn't want to do that. Spend days and weeks negotiating for a home and then get a contract. And then all of a sudden, we don't qualify for the loan. Get pre-approved before you even start shopping. As a matter of fact, the loan officer should be one of the first calls you made. Get pre-approved. The realtor knows how much you qualify for. They're comfortable that we can tell the seller, hey, let me tell you about Mary and Joe. They're great. We've checked their credit. We've checked their income. We've run them through the automated underwriting system, and they are approved. We're on top of it. So make sure you're doing that early in the process before you shop. Get pre-approved. Very important. Now, I remember one time, and it was a friend of mine that was applying for a home, and they were under contract. They were getting ready to go under contract, and then they informed me that, hey, I took a new job. It's not even in the same field. Sometimes you can switch jobs during the process. Don't do it. Don't buy a car. Don't go to the department store and them offer you 25% off if you sign up for their credit card. Don't do any kind of financial moves whatsoever. Buying a car, adding a debt. I actually had a doctor one time that during the processing of a loan that bought a $750,000 sports car. And that blew the loan for him. It just didn't work out. So make sure you don't do anything without talking to your loan officer first during the process. Once you close, you do you. But going up, as you're going through the process, just don't do anything stupid. Talk to your loan officer if you're going to do any kind of financial move whatsoever. Now, not providing complete income and asset documentation. We fight this quite often where somebody says, I just don't think I'm going to give you my bank statements today. You don't need to have my income documentation. Yeah, we do. We really do. It's not us. We're not nosy, but we have to document everything, particularly since the last crash and Dodd-Frank legislation came in. They require that on most loans, they require that we document your income and we can prove that you actually have the income to be able to pay the loan. We also have to make sure, and we have to document that you have the money in the bank that you say you do, that you're going to be able to pull off the transaction. So make sure that if your loan officer asks for anything, give it to them. They're not doing it for their health. They're not nosy. They're trying to actually get you approved. Very important. Do what you're asked. Finally, not planning for and understanding costs. I can't tell you how many times we've had people that apply for a loan, and when they send in their bank statements, one of them actually was in the negative. One of them actually had a negative balance in their bank statement, but they were going to put 20% down miraculously somehow on this property that they wanted to buy. Just do yourself a favor. Talk to your loan officer beforehand. Make sure that you understand what the costs are going to be. Here's another thing that I see happen a lot of times with people is not only do they forget the closing costs, oh yeah, 20% down, 5% down, 3.5% down, however much, we've got it, no problem. But they forget about closing costs, the taxes, they forget about the title costs, they forget about all that, and they don't understand that up front. But here's a kicker though. Remember, when you buy a home, you're probably going to want to put drapes on. You're probably going to have to sign up for utilities. There's going to be costs. You might have to buy a vacuum cleaner. I don't know, but there are costs that you just don't even think about going into it. That's one of the reasons that when we do look at an application, we make sure that there's a little bit left over after the transaction, that the customer isn't spending the last dime. Very, very important. So make sure you do these 5 things, and we'll secure your dream home for you. The loan officer that you're working with, whoever that might be, if it's us, if it's somebody else, great, but make sure that you're not making one of these top 5 mistakes, and watch some of my other videos for more tips about getting pre-approved and going through the mortgage process.